Hi YouTube! Today I'm going to do a quick run through of my digital illustration process. For tools, I use the iPad Pro 12.9 inch, an Apple Pencil, Procreate, and the brushes I use on Procreate are the 6B pencil and a version of that I made. I just duplicated that pencil and I increased the size to the maximum setting, so I just refer to that as Big Pencil. Alright, so I start by using the big pencil to sketch out my plan for my drawing. I like to use dark red or dark brown when I'm doing my line work. Sometimes, like with this one, I'll even sketch out the shadows just so that I have some idea of the mood of the piece even before I start adding in all of my shading. After my sketch, my first step is to lay in my flat colors a lot more neatly, and then from there I can switch to my 6B pencil on half size and I can start rendering and adding detail. When I'm rendering, I do it in a style that's a lot more similar to drawing or etching as opposed to painting. So to mix my colors, I don't do a lot of blending or smudging. Instead, I just do a lot of hatching and cross-hatching with small brushes. This is kind of important to my style because I really like to have a lot of texture in my pieces, so this kind of gives them a sharpness and a grittiness that I like instead of that smooth digital painting look. When I'm layering my colors, I usually go from medium to dark, so I start with my skin tone. I layer colors that are darker, usually starting with kind of the redder tones and then moving into more neutral dark colors, and then I go back and add highlights after that. For some pieces, like with this one where it has very dramatic lighting, I will use the big pencil on a separate layer and I will set out all of my shadows really large. And with this one, you can see it's really dark at first, but then I set it to multiply and I lower the opacity to make it a lot less dramatic. But the reason I have to do this is if I did all of my shading as cross-hatching, it would get really busy, and yes, it would be extremely textured, but I wouldn't be able to focus on the textures that I feel like I need and the ones that I feel add to the artwork. So you kind of have to balance, if you're using really small brushes, between where you can add that texture and where you need to switch to a big brush to get the job done without necessarily making the canvas really busy. Here I'm going back through and I'm adding details to the hat and the clothing, and you can see what I'm talking about again here, where I add some hatching and cross-hatching to the dress for texture, but then when it comes to doing the bigger shadows, instead of adding a lot of cross-hatching to those areas, I just use a large brush and I kind of blend it out smoothly. Alright, and then at the end, I like to do this a lot. I add in these stylized plants because they help me balance my composition. Sometimes when I notice that something needs to be happening in a certain part of the canvas that's too empty, I can just add one of these plants on top and that will kind of handle that problem. It also makes my artwork a lot more cohesive. For finishing touches, sometimes I'll add a blue overlay, or maybe if I want it to be warmer, I'll add orange. I just play with the lighting a little bit, and then it's done. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you subscribe so that you can see more in the future, and if you have something you would like for me to talk about in the next video, make sure you drop it in a comment. I'll see you next time. Bye!